on the Bucks.
Well, it's Saints and Bucks, but you're also beating Tom Brady.
Just in general, it's always good to beat Tom Brady.
I mean, imagine beating your old team and also
the quarterback that replaced you.
Yeah, it must feel good. Although I think Brady's already won and the Bucks have already won, despite what happens in that game.
I think Brady's had the ultimate revenge
on everyone.
Mm-hmm. So Stafford passed John Elway with 300 passing touchdowns to get into the top 12. He's 13. So Tom Brady, by season's end, will probably have had 2 separate careers that would get him in the top 10 in passing touchdowns. He's going to throw for 700 passing touchdowns.
Yes, he is.
In his career. If he plays next season.
If?
No indication that he's not.
Right. Well, he signed a 2-year deal, didn't he?
No one's touching those records.
Nobody.
No one's touching the records that he's going to establish. They're going to be unbreakable. It's going to be the DiMaggio hit streak. Not Mahomes.
No.
Is it possible that the game changes so much that we see some sort of day where it's a normal thing for quarterbacks to throw 5 and 6 touchdown passes in a game because everyone has abandoned the running game and there's some sort of futuristic rule change sport where the numbers, because you say no one will get to those numbers. The numbers in that sport don't matter at all. None of them. What are the records you know in that sport?
You knew the
Tom
rushing
Brady,
record.
600.
Right. But I don't know the rushing record anymore.
I know Brett Favre's consecutive game streak was 50. No, it was well above that. I'm saying 56.
You know the single season sack record?
Was it 22 by Strahan?
22 and a half,
23 and a half, I think, yeah.
Guys, Garrett has a shot at that. You're right, Dan. Numbers don't really stand out, but I know who the best is at everything, and it's Tom Brady. And even if the game evolves, is the game going to evolve to the point where someone can do what Tom Brady's done, which is just play this long?
I think 1,000 touchdown passes. 1,000. 1,000.
No.
Mike, if he throws 50 a year and plays 5 more years.
If he throws 50 a year, you just threw that out casually like he can do it.
Well, but not only
that.
He
wants to play till he's 50. Dan, don't do it. I care about you.
50 touchdowns a year.
Well, this is the thing.
That's 250 is what I added on to 600.
He added 250 to 600.
Right. Give or take a few. Figure, give a few.
Lucky bounces.
Yeah, a couple lucky bounces. Figure 55 a year or something like that. 17 games now, Dano.
50 touchdown passes a year for 8 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You're gonna question it again?
So at 53, you've got him breaking the record at 50. I want to be clear on what you're alleging here.
Yeah,
you have him throwing.
I do
throwing 50 touchdown.
He's done
passes
it once.
Yeah,
at age 52. I just simply want to be clear on what you're saying.
I don't want to dismiss Mahomes. What I'm doing with Mahomes is I don't think he's going to play till Tom Brady's age. But Mahomes is absolutely on that path.
If you're discussing this, you have to allow for future advancements in human aging. It doesn't have to just be changes in the game. It has to be changes in the human ability to age less quickly because of something Tom Brady invented.
But Mahomes already looks like he's aged at 27.
He really does. He's on the downside of his career.
He's been getting away with carrying the ball outside of his body his entire career, and now he's not. He looks a little slower, looks a little rounder.
Can I give you a strange name as to someone who might be able to catch Brady? Because he's 24 years old, which is the same age, by the way, as Joe Burrow. Lamar Jackson.
I thought you were going to say...
He's been playing 5 seasons already.
I don't think the touchdown pass, the air numbers are going to be there, especially later in his career.
That style of play is not going to hold up. Yeah. He's not going to be able to do that
Cam
in
Newton.
40s.
I would have said Cam Newton in 2015. Like, Cam Newton's got a shot at that record. The more mobile quarterbacks, it's the marvel of Lamar Jackson, and I'm done concentrating on what he can't do. And there's very little that he can do if this season's any evidence. He's improved. But you got to concentrate on what he is, an absolute marvel. I don't have a comp. The way that I don't have a comp for a player like Tom Brady playing at that age, I don't really have a comp for a mobile quarterback as mobile. He's their entire running game. He's his own play action, playing well into their late 30s.
I'd like to stop you on something because I want to talk about this, Dugats. And it's such a cool thing to watch happen as a sports fan when you're watching pioneering and the resistance it runs up against. Because Mike just said, hey, I'm done saying all the things he can't do. And there might be a playoff game where all that talk can come right back, because we do remember him playing a playoff game, and for 2 televised hours, he did not throw a completed pass. And it added to the narrative of something that looks like that and plays like that cannot be a quarterback in that sport. The body will break down. Whatever the criticisms are that have hit Lamar Jackson from every angle.
Mm-hmm.
I find fascinating that we're still in a place where Mike has to concede now after he's won MVPs. And Mike's not exactly the most hostile of critics on this.
On MVPs and playoff games.
But hey, I'm done with what he can't do. I've watched enough of this to know that he has restructured how this position is going to be played. The athleticism required of certain men, but I do want you, though, in the age of Kaepernick, to stand back and look at the macro here of what a pioneering person needs to endure when they're going to be a look and sound and feel and be different than what has been the established norm, any walk of life. I'm not just talking about the football position. I'm just talking about the difficulties in pioneering anywhere when the audience is used to thing X and you
Right.
present them with an option that doesn't look like that.
Sure. And it takes some time to get used to it and to adjust to it. And I think people still are
Is this about us?
with Lamar Jackson, which is weird considering that he has done it now for 4 years. He's won the MVP. He has won playoff games.
It'll
He's
be right
beaten
back.
Patrick
He
Mahomes.
loses a playoff game, it'll be right back. Like, it will come right
Well,
back.
no, that's the next thing on Lamar Jackson.
like,
Get to a Super Bowl. That's the next thing.
I know
That's it.
he had really good passing numbers when he won MVP, but last year there were so many red flags with his ability to throw the football accurately. But this year it seems like it's been totally corrected. He stretches the field. He throws a beautiful deep ball now. If he loses in the playoffs, especially as someone that doesn't like the Ravens at all one bit, there might be some celebration there, and I might have some of those doubts creep back in, but I'm going to start appreciating the artist for what it is that they do. He is an unprecedented talent at that, and there have been plenty of great athletes. Cam Newton, Steve Young, Mike Vick. There hasn't been someone with this running threat, this specific running threat that opens up the passing game as much. Usually you have a complementary piece. Look at all the injuries that they've had on the offensive line. Look at all the injuries they've had in the running back room. They've survived it all because he is such a difficult weapon to guard.
I would also say there's not an elite quarterback in the NFL doing more with less. Those receivers, those running backs, he's the running
Got a
game.
great tight end.
He does have a great tight end.
They're going to eat him up, though. But
will he get that? Will he get, hey, they didn't surround him with enough talent, or is all of it just going to follow Lamar Jackson? Because how can a man do more?
They defended him. They were at his offensive coordinator, who all of a sudden is a good offensive coordinator again. I found that criticism ridiculous. But
Bart Scott had said that Hollywood Brown's not a number one receiver for any other team in the league, or not. I think not even a starting receiver is what he said for any.
I think that speed sorts for a lot of teams. He drops the ball a lot, but he's got a natural
So
gift.
does Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill drops the ball a lot, and they end up in interceptions a lot.
Yeah, not as quite with a regularity. Hollywood Brown is dropping the ball a lot. But
he'd start elsewhere.
Yeah, there are these guys, Ruggs, Tyreek Hill, Marquise Brown. Their speed stands out in a very fast world.
You say that, though, and I want to rewind the conversation, because you say their speed stands out in a very fast world. And now I want you to look at what's playing quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens, what it's surrounded by, how you know that these tight spaces and the speed on the field is crazier than it's ever been. Fast behemoths running everywhere in a jungle of competition. And he is bending the game from the position. The most important position. Oh, you got to be careful with Hollywood Brown back there, because they've got a running back who's a quarterback. They've got their running game is a running back who's also their quarterback. It's like if Derrick Henry were doing that, what he did last weekend all the time, throwing little flip touchdown passes. Their running back is their quarterback, and he does both well. It's not just that his athleticism is game-changing, paradigm shifting. It's also he's value. He's playing two positions.
I know.
Like the one behind him doesn't matter. They were in the game for Todd Gurley.
No, he's the running back.
If he set his mind to it in a game, like I'm going into this game to break the single game rushing mark, which I think is like 296.
he could do it.
He could do it. It's
Yes.
there for him, but he tries to keep defenses on their toes. What Cincinnati did to defend him was fascinating because they were showing everybody blitz and then they were peeling everybody back.
defenses Orlovsky and Clark hadn't seen before.
Yeah, they would engage the blockers and then peel off, knowing that just engaging would give Lamar Jackson something underneath. So that is kind of revolutionary. Well, the Ravens kind of did that some too, and you do show blitz sometimes, but with Lamar Jackson, you have to show, engage, and drop back so much faster than anybody else in the history of the league. It's one thing for the Bengals to do it. Like everybody plays the Kansas City Chiefs the same way. Doesn't mean the Eagles and the Washington football team are beating the Kansas City Chiefs. They go two high safeties. Not everybody has a personnel to go two high safeties, get the pressure with the four. Not everyone has a personnel that the Bengals have. And if they try to do that with Lamar Jackson, he'll inevitably burn people. And if he starts making improvements based on how defenses play him, if they're going to set out to play him like that, it's a testament to his continued greatness.
To your point about the speed, Mike, I remember it was his second season. I was talking to Dominique Foxworth, who played for the Ravens, and he was out at camp. And I said, how good is Lamar Jackson? And he said, not good, great. Like Hall of Fame, great. And I said, how do you know? Like sniff test? I was poking fun at Dominique, and he said, Stugotz, do you know how hard it is to stand out on a field of world-class athletes? It's nearly impossible. Yet when you watch him, he is clearly the best athlete on that field.
Stugotz, I would ask you to examine. I really would, because you guys everyone listening to this has lived it. He's a young man. He's De'Aaron King's age. You have lived the pressure. You've seen the pressure cooker that he has played under from, and you get mad at me for repeating this again and again, but I think it's a fairly amazing thing. 6-time executive of the year, Bill Polian telling you can't play that position. Do not draft it to play that position because of whatever Bill Polian's idea was, not of just what quarterback is, but what football is.
Right.
He didn't fit. The running back as a quarterback, it didn't fit. I want all of you listening to this to allow to marinate. 4 years, this dude has been playing at an impossibly high level, and instead of appreciation, what he's gotten is no, that's not good enough. You can't do that. It won't sustain. It hasn't been a marveling at the revolutionary art. It really hasn't. His experience with fandom can't be like, wow, I'm awing people all the time. Right. It's always been like, no, you're not quite good enough. I know you're unlike anything I've seen, but it's not good enough. Here's what you can't do. Here's what you can't do.
There are going to be questions about Lamar Jackson right up until he wins a Super Bowl. And even after he wins one, there still might be questions about Lamar Jackson.
It'll return as soon as he loses.
The way we analyze quarterbacks in football, because it's one player that everyone's eyes are fixated on, and we've seen in this era alone a golden era of quarterbacks that everyone is kind of skewed on it. And it's so hard to just appreciate what someone does because you have so many options of players that do a lot and have success with it. But no one's writing Mariano Rivera for being a one-pitch pitcher. And he's the greatest reliever ever. No one got on his case.
Isn't it crazy, though? Like, without even doing the obvious stuff that I always do about race, isn't it just crazy what I'm saying to you, Stugotz, which is, at the height of athleticism, where we love our athletes and our sports and we love revolutionary things in general, that a guy would come up through the pipeline and be this kind of awe-inspiring as an athlete. Dominique Foxworth telling you what he tells you. And that it would be from every angle, how do I criticize it? Where do I criticize it? Where do I tell you that it's not enough, that it's not, I've never seen anything like it, therefore it can't be special because I haven't seen something like it. So I'm going to question it from all the angles. It's what I did to Tom Brady on the other end, right? Like, well, I've never seen it. I've never seen someone.
Human nature.
I've never seen someone age. Human nature is to age.
Right.
Human nature is to doubt something that you've never seen before. And right now we're in an era where you have Tom Brady doing that. You have Lamar Jackson doing that. You have Derrick Henry, who I believe belongs in that conversation too. Someone doing it at that size. I think the average skill guy in Tennessee is 6'3", 235. I'm not joking. AJ Brown, Julio Jones, and Derrick Henry, the team's identity. I think once Baltimore really leans into even more the identity of we're a run blocking team. The problem is at that position is I gotta think at some point the hits are gonna add up.
No, they will. They have to.
They
No,
have
but you don't
to.
know that.
No,
though.
they have to. He can't be that. Look,
But I'm saying that about
Like,
Derrick Henry, and they
I
have.
said it
watching
about Westbrook. I
I'm
said it
watching
about
Kyler
Russell
Murray
Westbrook.
play, and no one gets a clean hit on him. Like that, now it's a different body type slightly
been
than Lamar Jackson,
2
but
years
you
already.
can't get a clean hit.
He's already been dealing with shoulder injuries.
I'm not
the
even
last 2
talking
seasons.
about wear and tear of the sport. I'm just talking about aging. You can't be
Right.
a step faster than the world's best athletes when you're aging and they're not.
Speed's definitely going to go down.
Sure,
Speed's definitely going to go down. Like an athlete like Tom Brady, who never really relied on his speed,
it's timing.
that's
yeah.
fine. If that drops out, that's fine. He's getting better in other aspects of his game, but the speed is so crucial to Lamar Jackson's game that because his threat of his running, his effectiveness of his running, even if it goes down by some degrees, he's still going to be good. But right now, he's operating at a level that is just, I don't see how that's sustainable. Inevitably, just the aging process and just taking hits, he's going to slow down some.
But Dan's making the point that people aren't stopping to appreciate what it is Lamar Jackson is doing. I think they are. I'm not saying everyone is, but I think people have realized he's the MVP.
No, but
I
he's
wasn't, though. I'm
No,
realizing now.
but Mike, what I'm telling you is once you cross that and you're done marveling at this guy changing the position, he becomes every other great quarterback where you start asking the same questions. Can he lead you to a Super
Yeah, but
Bowl?
you
Can he
can't-
take
no,
you
but
to a deep playoff
This is
run?
so great
you know?
about Stugatz. Yes, Dan, all that about
But that stuff
appreciate-
happens.
No, but you're the leader of it.
Yes,
like
I
that
am.
stuff happens.
I'm a year or two away from starting to ask those questions.
I love that you're like, hey, everyone, this whole thing we've done of not appreciating Lamar enough for being unprecedented. That's wrong. We shouldn't do that. Win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
Like you
That's
are
what it's all about, you know?
You are that person.
No, once you stop, listen, we all agree he's talented, MVP good, best athlete in the league, okay? Once you agree on that, it gets down to winning. Go win.
I don't think that's where
I'm not there yet.
But where is the agreement on that? If he loses a game in the playoffs,
Dan, if he really wants to revolutionize
If
the
he
position,
loses-
validate it with a Super Bowl. I'm not saying he has to.
He
I'm
was-
saying
he
it will
was-
help. I'm saying it will help, and that's what people are going to start
But he
saying.
was clearly the
And
best.
I'll be there with him.
But he was the best player in an NFL season by winning in the MVP. You don't think that truly revolutionizes it?
I do. I said I think he has revolutionized the position.
revolutionize it in the playoffs. Revolutionize it again.
Yes.
Yeah,
Rev-
this is
keep
that
revolutionizing
daytime
it.
ESPN programming thing where it's just like championship or bust and rings as an argument.
Where do you think it's headed, though, for him?
Stugatz, can you stop
Weird.
getting there yet while we're still here for a
let's
second?
enjoy the ride.
Well, I am enjoying the
No,
ride.
you're not.
Well, how do you
He's
know what
no,
ride
he's-
I'm enjoying?
In his defense, he
Because
said
you're
he's
so
enjoying
I'm
the
on the
ride.
ride. You're not on the
because you've
ride.
been
He said he's
critical of
gonna
this
stop
Yeah,
person.
but I
enjoying
don't
it.
judge your ride. Don't judge my ride. I mean,
you're arguing. You're giving lip service.
I'm telling you where it's headed. That's
You're-
all I'm
Yeah,
doing.
he said in 2 years he's going to stop enjoying the
Yeah.
ride.
Exactly.
You're giving lip service to appreciating Lamar Jackson. You
Right.
want him to do it in the playoffs today, even though it's week 7 or 8 or whatever it is.
No, in 2 years. I mean, he gets a pass for 2 more years. And maybe I'm not the first of the party, okay? Because I guarantee it's going to start happening this year. But someone's going to say it, Dan. And I think that's a sign of Lamar Jackson. Hey, he's revolutionized it, and now we're going to criticize him like we do everyone else.
This
That's
is
it.
when I said earlier, he's going to age and others aren't.
Yeah.
The pipeline of athletes coming for your jobs, younger people keep getting on this bigger, stronger, faster train. He's not going to be able to be more of an athlete than the 22-year-olds of the future when he's 29, 30, 31, 32.
Stugatz is the reason why I sit back and I watch the Manning cast and I'm like, well, thank God this guy got 2 rings. I didn't think he was really good in the Super Bowl that he won the MVP in. That should have been Dominic Rhodes' MVP. He was reigning that game. And he was one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen win a Super Bowl with that Denver team. He was so bad, such a shell of himself. If his team didn't perform well in those Super Bowls, that would be his legacy.
Right.
Because that's the way we are in this country. It's Charles Barkley's legacy, even though it's a little different with him because now he's been a television personality longer than he's been a player.
But you guys are acting like what I'm saying is specific to Lamar Jackson. It's not. It's specific to great quarterbacks. I'll do it to
Americans.
I'll do it to Justin Herbert too soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just letting you know.
In a couple of years.
Yeah,
He's got 4 years.
3 or 4 years.
He's got 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's excited because he might get to start doing it to Mahomes faster than he thought he'd be able to.
Yeah, well, he already checked that box, though.
Even with a title, like we can continue.
Win another. Yeah.
We can continue to analyze these quarterbacks and whether you can win a Super Bowl without with this quarterback or that quarterback, but
right now, Mahomes is Flacco. I mean, he's Trent Dilfer.
We can continue to do all of that, and I will remind you that Jimmy Garoppolo was 5 minutes from Mahomes having no titles and Garoppolo having a title, and really screwing up the entirety of this argument and whether or not a quarterback is good enough to win a Super Bowl with.
By the way, Aaron Rodgers has only won one. Don't think I've forgotten about you. You better win a second one to validate this career. You want me to call you the best quarterback of all time? You need a second.
Do it like Peyton Manning, 9 touchdowns, 17 interceptions in a season. One of the worst Super Bowl winning quarterbacks we've ever seen.
You got to get at least one, though. I think you got to get at least one if you want to be considered the elite just because of reactions like that.
Right. I think you need 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drew Brees has 1. How will you think of him?
Not as an all-time great.
You don't think of him as like a top 10 quarterback of all time?
No. Top 10.
Here we go.
No numbers.
Montana's got 4.
Eli Manning is the best. How are we doing this? So if you've got 2
Eli's
titles,
better than Aaron Rodgers.
Who's got the second most passing touchdowns in NFL history?
The second most after Tom Brady. I don't know. Who cares?
Brees, isn't it?
It's Drew Brees.
Right. Who cares? 1 ring. Would
So,
you rather have the second most touchdown passes in the history of the NFL or Eli Manning's 2 rings?
I'd rather have the second most passing touchdowns in the NFL and Drew Brees' 1 ring.
You're wrong. Yeah, you're
Drew
wrong.
Brees wouldn't even want that. If you offered him another ring, he'd take another ring.
He'd answer that for public optics, but he's had a very good career.
But he's not going to be second for very long.
No.
That's going to come down. You can't take away rings.
Barely
Aaron
right.
Rodgers will probably catch him, but Aaron Rodgers is considerably far away right now.
So Marino's not eligible.
No.
0 rings.
No, get out of here, please, Marino. I'm telling you that Drew Brees would give 100 touchdown passes back to have Eli's ring. Second ring.
100?
100. Perhaps more.
Well, wait a minute. If it's perhaps more, then is it
100
more?
would put him at 5th all time, by the way.
You take it. I'm 5th with 2 rings.
All right. So this is an interesting hair splitting you guys are doing here. So we're in agreement. We have now evolved so much as a show that it used to be, would you rather have Charles Barkley's career or Robert Ory's career? And Stugatz was always arguing rings.
People used to ask if you wanted Miken's career.
And I think
look what
settled
happened to him this week.
Right. I think we settled that it was Big Shot Bob, right?
Well, except for Big Shot Bob came on and said, I'd rather have Barkley's career. So it seems like it was settled, but not the way that you think it should have been settled. And so we put that away. And now we're parsing it. So it's like
bullshit Bob.
Would Drew Brees with 1 title, how much of his trophy room would he give back for a second title?
Would he give up a man of the year?
Oh,
a man of the year and 100 touchdown passes.
The man of the year is so prestigious.
Really?
You get the unique little
Name the last
patch.
10 men of the year.
Go ahead, name another.
All right, I'm gonna go.
Jason Taylor was a man of the year.
Oh, and Taylor would give that back right now just to play in a Super Bowl.
Playing a playoff game.
Just thinking about who has the.
Eugene Robinson was a man.
I'm just trying to think of who has the patch, the Walter Payton patch on their uniforms. J.J. Watt has one.
J.J. Watt,
Of course he does.
if he could, he'd wear a uniform of only them.
It would just say man of the year on the back.
J.J. Watt wants to play with that emblem just like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, just right over his penis. Just that's it.
Just Walter Payton dangling above his genitalia.
Man of the year, Walter Payton patch, J.J. Watt.
Does Russell Wilson have one?
If you want to make an astronaut suit out of the patches, I suppose he'd like that too.
He would love that. Russell Wilson, does he have a man of the year?
Yeah, does he have that patch, Mr. Unlimited?
I have no idea. He has a Super Bowl, needs a second.
Seahawks QB Russell Wilson named 2020 Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year.
Oh, what he would, I mean,
I'm
Mike.
just doing by the uniforms.
And you don't think he makes that exchange? Hey, Eli, take my man of the year. I'll take your ring.
He's already got a title.
But do you think?
But this is the second
Is there a
one.
public ceremony in which he's like, I'd
Russell
like to
Wilson
give back all my
totally
good
gives
works?
This one's hard to answer because Russell Wilson cares way too much about his public image. But Russell
But
Wilson
once you have 2 rings, you don't have to.
also wants to be winner guy.
I'll do it this way. Eli's not giving up the ring for any of that. He doesn't want your 100 touchdown passes. He doesn't want your man of the year. He wants that second ring.
Eli's rings are unique because he beat the Patriots. He beat Tom Brady. He ended an undefeated season. So in many respects, Eli's Super Bowl ring is like that much more impressive.
Eli has a man of the year.
Oh, wow.
Would Eli trade one championship for a marriage with a pop star? To have the tabloid,
To have Russell Wilson's life?
to have the Russell Wilson, whatever the public persona
I mean,
is.
Eli's married
had a
with
good
children. He seems very, very
I'm not-
happy.
I just saw
2
two-
rings, man of the year.
I
I
saw
mean,
end zone pain in his last name. Yeah. Co-man of the year.
Eli's fine.
When
He's
it's all
sitting
said
in-
and
done-
Eli's really in the driver's seat.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, he may be the best Manning.
I just what you're trying to do is paint the picture of Eli
After
Manning
Arch.
at the Met Gala with Sierra in a,
Well, I
in a
was trying, but
Giants
the guys
dress.
just don't. He won't let me have it. He just wants to. For some reason, he wants to fiercely defend the family life of Eli Manning. But yes, that is where I wanted to go, Mike.
Eli dating
I
Sierra.
wanted to go Eli Manning. Look, Eli Manning. I still remember him showing up way too early to our party when we threw a Super Bowl party that had all these people at it. He was the first one to arrive. Everyone there, Andy King and Jeremy Marks-Peltz were making fun
Yes.
of how early he arrived. As Matt Leinart, you could tell his career was going to go into the toilet because he was drunk already and headed to the sauna and the steam room and the whirlpool.
JMP. I mean, a rare second mention in a week. How about that?
And
Didn't you make Nick Lachey FaceTime Abby or something? Or
Yes,
hop on the
from
phone?
that
This was
party.
prior to
I
FaceTime.
did. I made Nick Lachey. I didn't make him. I asked him to FaceTime Abby.
no,
There's
if
no
you know
FaceTime back
Stugatz,
then.
if you know Stugatz, he makes you. He just yes, it's not
Yeah.
just.
Did you just call him,
a
hey,
simple
98 degrees,
request.
say hello to my wife. Hey, where did 98 degrees go?
I mean, he spent a good 10 minutes on the phone with her. It was very nice of him.
Eli Manning got there before anybody,
Yes, you're scarred.
and he wore the pants your grandfather would wear to his 3:30 p.m. dinner. And yes, that's where I was trying to take you, Stugatz. Eli Manning at the Met Gala, tabloid headlines, pop star life.
This is why he needs a producer to help him with timing, Dan. He's too early.
Right. But does it seem like Eli wants anything to do with that? No.
That's not my point, Stugatz. But I'm
yeah,
sure
2
Eli,
rings.
again, you're going to defend the family. Yeah, I'm sure it's
It's a
family.
nice family.
I just want to think about it. I just want to imagine it.
Okay.
Jessica just lurched into the show because the last 20 minutes she's been sitting there, but she's been icing her nose.
I'm so embarrassed.
She's been icing her nose with what was, I think, an Italian icy, right? That's what you were doing.
Luigi's.
And what is it now that you're doing?
Well, this is a proper ice pack, as Chris Whittingham would say.
Well, what happened?
I drilled my nose on the door of the bathroom stall in the Clevelander. I'm in pain, Dan. I think I might have broken something.
You think it's broken? You think you're
There's no blood, but I Googled it. Never Google any injury. I read some terrifying things. I'm now in a panic spiral. Might need Billy to help me.
Why are you
come out
the
of that?
wrong
Do
person.
you typically open doors with your face, or
No, it like swung around and it hit me really hard in the nose. And yeah, I kind of had to like stumble back into the room with Luigi's Italian ice.
Over time, Dan, do you think there's a bathroom anywhere in America that has done more damage to noses than the one at the Clevelander Hotel?
I can think of a few.
Miami's?
Yeah.
Miami bathrooms
Yeah,
are
she-
littered with the corpses of noses that have
Yeah.
rusted out.
She walked into the studio. She's like, "Oh my god, I just rocked my nose in the bathroom." And we're like, "Welcome to Miami."
Welcome to Miami, Jess.